We're going to make ghogra or gujiya in the air fryer. My family always makes ghogra for Diwali. There is no Diwali without ghogra in my household. My mom usually did the frying, my grandma usually did the filling and pinching. In other parts of North India, gujiya are eaten during Holi. Today we're going to make some coconut ghogra, and coconut ghogra are very common where I grew up in Mumbai and Bombay. Many of my Marashtrian neighbors made coconut Karanji, as they are called in Marathi, and I grew up having these with my friends and neighbors, and so I'm going to make coconut today. So let's make some ghogra, or let's make some gujiya. So I'm going to start by making the pastry dough for the ghogra or the gujiya. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of salt. This is not traditional, but I like to add just a little bit of salt to my dough. I'm going to mix it up with my hand, and then I'm going to add the ghee, and then I'm going to just mix that into the dough, incorporate that really well. I'm looking for a sandy texture in the dough that will hold together when I plump the dough with my fist. So not holding together, I'm going to keep working it until it is. Okay, let's test again. Holding together. We are good to go. See that? Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit at a time because I don't want the dough to be too wet. Just a tad more. Rub that in and bring it all together and just let it form into a ball. So it's okay if it looks broken up, not a problem. Just smooth on a little bit of ghee and spread the ghee around a little. And then I'm going to just cover it up with a damp towel. I'm going to let it rest while I make the filling. So we're going to make the filling now. I'm going to take about half my ghee. You could also use coconut oil here. I'm going to use about half my ghee, and I'm going to let that melt. And then once the ghee has melted, I'm going to add my coconut. I'm going to toast the desiccated coconut until it is just lightly golden. I'm going to be sure to do this on medium heat so your coconut does not burn. It can turn pretty quickly. Okay, so it's nice and golden now, and I'm going to take it off the heat. I don't want to brown this too much. I just want it to be lightly toasted. You can see it's continued to brown a little bit as I was transferring it. Next, we're going to toast the almond flour. I'm going to heat the rest of my ghee. I'm going to add the almond flour. I'm just going to lightly toast that as well. I don't want to toast the almond flour too long. It's starting to slightly darken, and I'm going to take it off heat, and I'm going to add it to the other bowl. So now I'm going to make the rest of the filling. So I have my coconut and my almond flour combined already. I'm going to add jaggery to this. I'm using powdered jaggery that I have bought from the Indian store. I'm going to add some cardamom and some nutmeg. For the filling, I'm just going to use a little whisk here and whisk it all together to combine. Smells like Diwali. Different parts of India celebrate different holidays with different foods, and in northern India, gujiya are an essential Holi food. Okay, there we have it. The filling is all ready. So I'm going to roll out the dough. Had some time to rest it, but I'm going to keep it covered when I'm not using it, and you can see it's softened quite a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break it into 16 equal parts. So I'm going to break it into half and then quarters, and then I'm going to break each quarter into 4 parts as well. If you are particular about making sure that all of your ghogra are the same exact size, you can use a scale to weigh each section and make sure that they all weigh exactly the same. I don't mind if there's some unevenness. Okay, now I'm going to take each section and just kind of transfer it back and forth to smush it together, and then I'm going to roll it between my palms and flatten it. So I'm going to make a puck out of each of these sections. Roll. I apply a little bit of pressure as I'm rolling, and then flatten into a puck. I'm going to be really careful and make sure these don't dry up, so I'm going to cover them as soon as I'm done. Okay, last one, done. So I'm going to cover them back up, and then I'm going to set those aside. And I'm going to use my adni and my velern. So you don't need an adni, you can roll out on the counter itself. And any kind of a rolling pin will do. This is a traditional Gujarati rolling pin, and it is very thin. I also have a more traditional fat rolling pin, and also have a French style rolling pin. They all work just fine. This is just the one I grew up with, and it's the one I'm most used to. So I'm going to take a puck. I'm going to push it down a little bit, and I'm going to start rolling. If the dough sticks a little bit, you can use a little bit of ghee to make sure that it doesn't stick too much, and you want to roll it out pretty thinly. There it is. This is how thin it should be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a C shape with my thumb and my fingers, and I'm going to lay it across my palm over that C shape. I'm going to grab a tablespoon of the filling. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to do a tablespoon and a half of the filling. So once I pinch it about halfway, I can add a little more filling if it is looking like there's some room. I can continue pinching. There's a little more room. I can add some more filling. I'm going to push the filling in. And there I have it. So I'm going to just double check that the entire seam is pinched together and it's holding tightly. And then I'm going to start at one end. I like to start on my left side. I'm going to pinch and fold, pinch and fold, and fold, pinch and fold, pinch and fold, pinch and fold. And I'm just going to place that right in there with my dough and make sure to keep it covered with a damp towel. So I'm going to brush my air fryer with some ghee. You could use spray oil here as well, but since this is traditionally cooked with ghee, I'm just using that. I'm going to place my gugras, and then I'm going to brush their tops with some ghee. There it is. I'm going to flip them. And there you have it, coconut gugra or coconut gujiya in the air fryer.